Welcome everyone. First of all, thank you for joining the session today. This month's Campfire session is on the Excel import and export functionality that we recently added in with our most recent release earlier this year. So let's go in and have a look. So first of all, my name is Omar. I'm part of the customer success team here at Aprika. I'm involved with a lot of the customer support, the customer success, and stuff like this, Campfire sessions, training videos, and so on. So onto the agenda. So today's agenda is the obviously the Excel import export feature. So we'll cover off how you can what that functionality is all about. First of all, we'll cover off how you can prepare the import file, how you can import them in, how you can export it, what are the different features with exporting it, what limitations it has, and yeah. So first up, what is the Excel import export feature? So in Mission Control, there's a lot of ways that you can build out your project. So you can create a project using the standard page layouts. That's the most basic. But then you can sort of use the out-of-the-box pages and different custom pages and components to build your projects, like the overview page, the create milestones and create actions pages, the whiteboard, the action pad, the Gantt chart, and also something that's a standard Salesforce feature using data import, like using a data loading tool like data loader. The challenge with data loader on one hand is that you have to first import your project, you have to capture its IDs, then you have to add that into your milestone import file. You have to then import your milestones, then you have to capture the milestone IDs and then add it to the action import file. And that can be quite a cumbersome process. And so that's why we decided to sort of put our focus on making something very easy, like the Excel import export feature that we have here today. So this is what the Excel import export feature. It allows you to build up your project plan within an Excel file. So you can build out all the way from a portfolio all the way to checklist items. So portfolio, project, portfolio program, project, phase, milestone, action, checklist item. All of those records, you can just build it out directly within an Excel file, assign the levels that each one should go to, which is what we call the work breakdown structure. And that can be used to import it into the system. And there's some standard values that you can input, like the hour schedule, the status, who the action owner is, or the owner for that relevant level is. Yeah, so we'll have a look at that in more detail once we get to the demo. So we'll cover off how you can import it in, and to be able to import it in, you need to first prepare that import file. So we'll go over the how you can set that up. After that, we'll also look at the export feature. So it outputs an Excel file in a similar format that you imported in, and you might want to use that externally outside of the system. You might want to share that with others. So whatever the use case is, you have that functionality there. So let's jump into the demo. And before I get to the demo, I just want to I'd like for this session to be as interactive as it can be. So you'll have an option to, I think, either use the chat function or Q&A. So if somebody could put something in there, just let me know it's working. So that's where you can put your questions in. If there's any audio issues or screen issues that you're seeing, just let me know, and we'll be able to look at that before we get started on the demo. In the meantime, I'll just switch my screen onto my browser, and we'll have a look at that. Okay, so there we go. Desktop, share screen. Okay. All right, so my screen should be in view. I haven't got any questions or Q&A, so I assume everything's okay. If somebody could put something in there, just let me know that feature is working. I think it's most likely the Q&A that's you'll be able to put something in. Yeah, all right. I've got everything set up. Thank you for that. Looks like it's working. I can see your questions, and yep, done. Thank you. All right, so I am on the Mission Control console. Thank you for that. So the chat is disabled, but the Q&A works. And yes, we are recording this session. So this will be made available on our website. If you've signed up for the webinar, you'll receive an email And you can also check it out on our website. So you can check it out on aprika.com /campfire session. So just go to aprika.com, and under resources, you'll find a section called Cosmo Campfire Webinars. When you go over here, you'll have a library of Campfire sessions that we've done. So once this is uploaded, you'll be able to get that done. All right, so there's that. Cool. So I am on the Mission Control console, and we'll go through the import feature, how you can access it, and where you can access it. So before I get to the import functionality, let's look at the Gantt chart for an individual project to sort of have an understanding of what the template should look like. So on the Gantt chart, you'll see that I've got the WBS, the work breakdown structure on the left-hand side, which outlines what layer we're looking at. So 1 being the topmost layer, which indicates the project in this context. 1.1 being the child for that project, which is the project management milestone here. And then 1.1.1, which indicates the child of the milestone or the grandchild of this project. So based on this, you can sort of understand that this is sort of the structure that you want to lay out. So where this is the first milestone, and then this being the second milestone where it starts off at 1.2, and then on the third milestone it would start off at 1.3. So this is sort of the structure that you want to keep in mind when you're building out your Excel template to import. You'll notice that on the Gantt chart you have a button called the Import Export. The import functionality is only available in the standalone context. So right now you'll just see the export functionality here. We'll get to that in a few minutes. So to access the import feature, we'll go into the standalone again, so which you can access using the navigation menu, like so, or you can search it using the app launcher on the left-hand side here. So you can look up Gantt chart, and you'll have an option there. So I'm in the Gantt chart, and I've got the same import export buttons here. So let's click into that. So if I go in here, I'll have the section for Excel import. I can select an Excel workbook file, and then I can import it in. So before we do that, we want to make sure our template is set up. So I'll go ahead and open up a file here, Excel template. Just make a copy of that, and we'll just say project import. Open that up. So I'll just build out the whole project plan from scratch, so you guys see how easy it is, and how quickly you can just build everything up. So I have got this here. So these are the columns that you want to add in. So let me just see if I can zoom in, bring this up. So I've got Excel open, I've got these headers in there. So the work breakdown structure, what layer it is, so whether that's a portfolio, the program, project, start date, end date, our scheduled, non-billable, billable. So we'll start off with the project name. So we'll say AGO. So we're doing a project on a mission control implementation, and we'll have that's a project layer. We'll have a phase in there, and within that phase we'll have a couple of milestones. So I'll start with a milestone, and that milestone is going to have a couple actions. We'll add a checklist item here, and maybe another one, and we'll have one more action under this milestone here. Then we'll move on to a new milestone. So milestone. And we'll have 2 actions there again, and then another milestone and 2 more actions. So this is what I have in my mind in terms of what the project structure is going to look like. You can definitely assign out these layer values at another time. So if you were to know that, okay, this is the project name, now I'm going to move on to adding the phase, and then I'm going to add my actions, the actual work where the work will be tracked. So I'm going to be doing some requirements gathering. And within that requirements gathering milestone, I'll need to do a reverse demo to demonstrate the features, and then do a requirements workshop maybe. I'll also, within this requirements workshop action, I'll need to schedule the meeting maybe, and I'll need to book out a room. After that, I'll just need to document my requirements. Moving on to the next part of this process, I'll be doing some solution architecture. Within that, I'll just create out a solution data model. I'll document the solution design. And lastly, I'll just need to do some functional configuration. So I'll add some actions in for that part. So maybe I'll need to set up the control path settings when I set this mission control instance for a customer. I'll need to create roles, for example. So just a few examples of those different layers. So now that I've sort of outlined the different items within my project, the different milestones, the different checklist items, actions, phase, all of that, I can start assigning the WBS or the work breakdown structure values. So project being the topmost layer, I'll start off with 1. A phase being the second layer, which is 1.1. And then the milestone being the third, so that's going to be 1.1.1. And then we have action after that. So a child of this is going to be starting off there. And what I can do now is if there's a duplicate layer for the same parent, I can just drag and then it'll automatically update the relevant number for it. So over here, we'll do 1.1.1.2.1 because these checklist items are children of this action over here. So we'll do the same here. We'll just drag that down and then we'll do 1.1.1.3 because this action is still a child of this milestone here. Now this is a new milestone and the previous milestone was 1.1.1, so we'll do 1.1.2 and then 1.1.2.1, 1.1.2.2, and then 1.1.3, 1.1.3.1, 1.1.3.2. So there we go. That's our work breakdown structure. If you have any trouble sort of working this out, you can also, I'll go through how this is broken down in an existing project via the Gantt chart when we do export it. So that may help as well. We can set up the owner. So Colin is going to be working as the project owner. In this phase, we'll set him as the owner. On this milestone, we'll set myself as the owner. So any name that you put in here, you want to make sure that this person's name exists. Make sure there aren't any typos and there aren't any duplicate active roles. So you'll want to make sure there's just one that matches this exact name. Otherwise, it might run into an error or it might not set the owner there. So we'll go ahead and set myself as on some of these actions here. So I'll just drag that down all the way here. And then maybe we'll pull Victor in for the rest of the stuff. Victor, go ahead and do that. And yeah. So status. Status, I'm just going to leave that all the time because it's a new project. So just drag that down. Start and end dates. So I've already got a copy of the start and end dates. So I'll just pull this in here. So this is what my start and end dates look like for the different action items. So I've only put in dates. You'll notice that I've only put in dates for the different action layers. So like these two rows here and the checklist items. Because the dates on the milestone, the phase, and the project, they all roll up because the action and the checklist item are the main source of those dates. So that's why I've only put in dates over there. So I've got the dates here and I've got the dates here. And lastly, I'll just put in the hours. So again, I'll just copy them over from my reference sheet here and save that. So you can leave it blank. You can put some hours in there or not. You can set it to 0, up to you. But I've got the hours in there for the same understanding there. I only put the hours in for the actions and checklist items because the hours will then automatically roll up to the milestone, the phase, and the project. So I don't need to do that here. So that's been done. I'll go ahead and save this one here, and then we'll close out. One more thing I want to add here is, let me just bring up my folder again. Where is the? So this is the file here. You want to make sure the file format when you're saving it is Excel workbook. So I'll just go into save here. So I've selected Excel workbook, so I'll just zoom in here. So XLSX, that's the one you want. So just make sure that's the format you're using. Otherwise, it won't import the file in. So we've got that file there. We'll go ahead and import it in. So choose file here and then added. This portfolio. I got the right file. Excel import project import. Okay, Excel import project import. So this is the one. Open that and import. So we now have our project as we had outlined it. So we've got the, let me just bring up the project as well. So we'll see the side by side. Okay, so I've got the different layers. I've got the project there, I've got the phase there, I've got the milestone, the actions, the checklist items, the actions, the rest of the actions, and then the milestones. So I've got all of that there. I've got the names there. I've got the actual owners there. I've got the status. I've got the start and end dates, and it's automatically calculate the working days. And if I have a look here on the right-hand side, I've got the full project structure. If I need to make any changes over here, I can do that in terms of changing the schedule, adding any dependencies if I need to, and I can save here. Just keep in mind that this page, it does take into account your standard validation. So let's try that at the action level. Save that. Yeah, so make sure you're putting in all the relevant details in there. And if you have any custom validation, so something like maybe you need to have a project owner. So within a few minutes, I have got this new project that's set up. So if I were to go into the Gantt chart now, I've got all of my milestones, the actions, the phase built out very quickly. Just and then I can go on to add more details here. So that's how you can set up a simple project very quickly. I'll also show you a template that I've already set up where where I've got portfolios, programs, and multiple projects in there. So I'll go ahead and set this up here. So I'll select the file, and it's this one here. So I import that in. Okay, yeah. So it's a pretty big project plan. It's not just one project, there's multiple projects in there. So I've got the portfolio layer, I've got the program, I've got the project, the phase, the milestone, the actions, checklist items. So I've got everything in there that I can add in. And then this is the second project in there. This is another program. This is a project. So there's quite a few level of complexity that you can go into in building out your project plans. So if I go back to the structure of that Excel import file, so just bring that up on the screen. This up. So this is the full structure. You'll see the WBS numbers have been layered or set up accordingly to the different layers. And I've got all of that set up, which has been pulled into this Gantt chart here. If I save that, I can now go to the individual projects, to the program, or to the portfolio level to see that project pull through. So if I go here, go into the Gantt chart, I've got all my projects and programs within this portfolio layer. No, so that is the import feature. Any questions on that? No questions. So we'll move on to the next, because I've got a question here just now. Can you also import actions with the dates? Yep, so that's what we've done here with the Excel file. Let me just bring this up here. So if you have a look at this, if you have a look at these two rows, those are the action layers, and I've actually input the dates in there. You can also, if you want to not enter in dates, you can choose to do that as well. So if I were to go into the Gantt chart, it will default it to the current date, because for the Gantt chart to display it, it needs to have some dates in there. So it will likely default it to the current dates. So let's try that now. So we'll go ahead and remove all of these dates here. We'll save this, and we'll go back here. So choose, and then import file. So you'll see that it's all just sort of set up on the same date, because for this part to exist, it needs to have a date because it's against the timeline. And as you saw previously, we had, if I were to refresh my view here, I'll import the original file in, so we see what the result looks like with dates. So if I import this back in, so this is the one with dates, import that. So now you'll see I've got the different dates set up. I only set those dates up at the individual action and checklist item levels, and then those have rolled up accordingly at the milestone level to the earliest start date and then the latest end date. Similarly, that's gone up to the phase and then the project as well. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question there. So the idea with this Excel import features, you can quickly build out your project plan with the very core details, like who the owner is, what the status is, what the start and end date is, and what the hours are. And once you've done that, you can then move on to building out the rest of the details. So, for example, in this case, let me just update the name here. Let's just say two there. Save that. Once I've sort of built out this structure of the project, I can then go into update the rest of the details. So now I've got this project here. I can edit the project to then specify all of the cost details as you asked. I've already got the hours on the action. All I would need to do is set up the billing rate. So for example, I am using role-based, and because the actions have been created, I'll go ahead and force the financial recalculation, and then it should start calculating the billable figures like in terms of the scheduled hours. So hopefully that takes a minute or so because I've got some, yeah, so there you go. It started to generate the figures on the different actions. So this is the hour scheduled value billable on the action level. It's calculating those dollar figures. So if you've set up the hours, all you would need to do is set up the billing rate or cost rate on the project, and then it should automatically do that for you then. Any other questions? And while we're on that topic, as I mentioned, these are just the standard fields on the Gantt chart here that are currently supported. So that's the obviously the project name. If I just import that in again, choose file, project import. So you're able to enter the record name, the whatever layer it's for, who the owner is, the status, and the start and end dates, and the hour scheduled billable and hour scheduled non-billable. So those are the values that you can update at this point in time. We do definitely monitor our feature requests. So if there's any other fields that you'd like to see, we can take that into account. Just reach out to us and we'll look into it. Yeah. All right, so the next topic, unless there aren't any more questions, we can cover off the export feature, which is a fairly short topic though. How do you add predecessors? So currently, predecessors are not supported in the Excel import feature, but while you're here on the Gantt chart, you can then start adding predecessors as you normally would within the Gantt chart. So you can start by using the drag and drop functionality on the right-hand side. So when I hover over a record, I see these two circles appear. I can drag from that point onto another record to initiate a dependency. So now I started at the end of this action and I connected it to the start of the second action. So this is a finish to start relationship where when the first action finishes, it's gonna connect, it's gonna start the next action. So if this action gets delayed, moved ahead, that's where the second action will also get moved ahead along with it. So that's how you can create those dependencies, or you can set up the dependencies using the predecessor column here. So if you have if you know the work breakdown structure number here, you can assign that dependency there accordingly. We do have a separate session that on the Gantt chart that goes into more detail on how you can set up those dependencies, how you can delete them, how you can manage them, the different options that you have in terms of adding dependency. So the one that I just demonstrated, that's the finish to start. There's the start to start and a few more as well. Yeah. Okay. So if I go back into my project view, let's go this one here, and we'll go into the Gantt chart. So I'm in a project-specific Gantt chart right now, and we'll look at how or what the export looks like. It's a very similar format. So if I go ahead and click into the import export button, I've got a few options here. The one I'm concerned with is the Excel export. So you can there's an optional setting that you can enable, so which is the include timeline setting. We'll do it without the timeline first and then do it with the timeline in the second run. So I just clicked export. It's going to download a PDF file. I'll save that and we'll open that up. So again, this is going to be an Excel file. And if I just zoom in here and I'll just reduce the column width. Okay, so we have our project export, Excel export. In a similar format, you've got the WBS layer, you've got the what layer it's for, the name of that relevant record, who the owner is, what the status is, what the dates are, how many hours scheduled, how many hours non-billable, billable and non-billable. So that's what the standard export for Excel looks like. And if I just close out of here, close this bit. And the second option is to export it with the timeline. So if you're interested in seeing what the project timeline looks like more visually, which is what you see on the right-hand side, that can also be included. So if you'll want to make sure that is checked, and when you do that, it's going to include it into your Excel and export. So save that, open that up. So I will go ahead and shorten the column width there. Okay, so zoom in a bit. So again, I've got the same column header, so WBS, layer, name, owner, status, start and end date, hour schedule billable and non-billable. After that, I've got this timeline view where it's indicating the individual days at the top, what days are considered non-working days in gray, the green indicating it's an action, the blue indicating it's a milestone, the orange indicating the phase, and then the purple indicating a project, and then the red indicating the checklist item. I can see the rest of the layers over here. So yeah, that's the project export functionality. Any other questions? Well, if there aren't any questions, we can just wrap this up. Let's go back here. So thank you all for your time today. Hope this one was a valuable session. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to us at support@preca.com or submit a ticket at the link mentioned here. We've got all our detailed resources, user guide, training videos, learning portal. Thank you for that. Glad you found this valuable. If there's any topics you guys are interested in, reach out to us, let us know, and we'll be happy to cover this off in Campfire sessions if it's a suitable one. So yeah, that's all from me. I will see you in the next one then. Thanks all.